Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Happy Friday. Awesome. So I am Jolinda Smith, and I'm the host of Creative Mornings. Thank you all for being here. So our theme this morning is silence. Nice job, everybody. You're doing great. We're going to bring Natasha Freeman to the stage, and Michelle has a few words.
So it is my privilege today to introduce Natasha Freeman, who is a great friend of mine, but also so much more. Natasha is the owner of Lucid Living here in Richmond, and she is a Reiki master, a sound healer, sound therapist, a yoga teacher, a Thai body worker, a peri-steam hydrotherapist. Please ask her about that afterward, because it's fascinating. And she really personally delivers wellness services here throughout Richmond. But one of the most beautiful things about Natasha is she is consciously and continuously evolving into this world. She always makes space for people when they need it the most. And she really is committed to helping others not find themselves in the world, but find themselves within themselves. And it is my pleasure to have Natasha come up and lead her first exercise with us. Welcome, Natasha Freeman.
Oh, and she talks about me like evolving, like that's not even my handle anymore, because I'm like a new normal me, right? So I'll tell you, that's not my curly curvy yogini no more. Good morning. Hi. So before I introduce and tell you the things, I want to do this thing, right? Okay, yeah. And it's really dope that we've kind of already set the stage, because we have these the 5-word challenge, right? And so I would really love for us to take those notes that we jotted down and just kind of reflect on those and connect to those words. And then I'm just going to invite us to all, first this, who has cell phone? Everybody, most probably. Can we grab them really quick and just put them on silent? Because even though we're only going to do the bowls for like a few minutes, I want us to be here and present. So if we have our phone and it's not on silent, let's do that. I think that'll be cool. Yeah. To not have it like ring, right? I want you all here. Yeah. And so then if you have both, if we're cross legs, might be fun to have like both feet onto the ground. Could be. Hey, you do you though, boo. You do you. But I want us to start to get grounded, right? You see, it's okay. I have no shoes on. That's okay. I don't know if I'm going to put them back on, because then that's going to take a lot of time. But so we have both feet onto the ground. We want to rest the hands onto the thighs. And I want us to sit tall, right? We want to have a strong spine. Reach up through the crown of the head, and we can soften those shoulders. Hey, let's wiggle the shoulders first. Yeah. Okay. I'm interactive, so y'all gonna love me or hate me. It is what it is, right? Okay? So, and we're gonna soften the shoulders down. Good. Resting the hands into the thighs. I will invite you, if it feels comfortable, you can close the eyes. If it's not, that is all good. You just bring a softness to the gaze. Maybe bring the gaze down. Either way, whether the eyes are closed or we have a softness in the gaze, we wanna bring the gaze down to like the bridge of the nose. And so we're just going to start by taking a few moments to connect and to settle into the space. And we're going to use the sound of the Himalayan singing bowls to help us with that. And so together we're all going to take a smooth, full breath in through the nose. Let's cleansing breath. Open the mouth, exhale, just release, let it go. Good, we're going to do two more cleansing breaths like that. Smooth, full breath in. Open the mouth, I want you to release, let go, and we're gonna shed anything that's no longer serving you. Good, last time like that, smooth, full breath in. Open the mouth, exhale, release. Good, now we're just gonna bring the breath back to its natural rhythm. Inhales and exhales through the nose. And just bringing for the next few moments just the connection to the sound and allowing the sound to just to enter in, right? Welcome it in. And so we'll gently begin to bring the awareness back to the breath. Just starting to feel the chest gently rise with each inhalation. You can feel the breath gently descend back down with each exhalation. As you start to connect to the breath, you start to feel the chest rise, the rib cage expand, even with each inhalation and with each exhalation, allowing the breath to move fully back down to the root of the belly. So really connecting to the fullness of the breath, the fullness of the inhalation as you're grateful and take in that fullness of the breath on the inhale, and then on the exhale, allowing the things that are no longer serving you to release and to let go at the bottom of the exhale. If the eyes are closed, we can gently begin to blink the eyes open. And then here we are. And now we hopefully, we're all in the room now. Because see, sometimes we physically show up. Or maybe I'm just speaking for me. Oh, God, you're in, like, oh, I have to, like, get used to that. You're in my face. No, it's okay. No, it's cool. It's cool. It's good. I'm good, Mama. You come close as you want. But I'm like, oh, okay, girl, yeah. So sometimes we like to enter into the space, the physical body, right? But then, like the mind, the spirit, it takes a little bit of time. It needs to catch up a little bit. And so now, hopefully, we're all here in this room. And that means we're all family, right? Before we even get started, I just want to thank the Creator for the gifts that have been, I believe, bestowed upon me, right? And we all have these different gifts. I want to thank Jolinda and Michelle and the entire Creative Mornings team for the work that you all do, right? And creating a space like this for us to be able to come together and hang and just like chat and maybe leave and have some nuggets and some things that can help us like to move through this journey, because this thing is hard as hell, right? Oh, that's my one. Like, oh, I'm a cursor, so like I have, oh, God. So that's one. I'm like, I feel like no. I was like, 3 strikes, you're out. No. So, yeah. Where's Bo? Hi, Bo. Bo asked me, oh, I'm excited to hear you talk. Like, what are you going to talk about? I was like, I don't know, Bo. What do you think I should talk about? Right? I mean, other than silence, that's what it is. But also, why I say that is I want to thank Creative Mornings because they allow me to be able to process things the way that I process, right? And allow me to show up the way that I want to show up, right? And that is gosh, we're getting right into the lessons. That's been a lesson for me because I try to show up in a different way, right? And it's not me, but this is what society has told me. This is the way I should show up, right? And I'm like, yo, but that's not me. And so it has taken some time to get to the place where I feel in authority and comfortable and confident to show up as me. Hi, I'm Natasha. Yeah, I'm a lover of all the things. So that means I love life. I feel deeply, very deeply. That's caused some fun times in life because of that, right? I feel super deeply. And so a lot of people ask me, like, hey, who says, like, how did you decide, like, you wanted to wake up and then, like, your thing you want to do is, like, play bowls and those kind of things. And that's really not kind of how it happened. What really happened is life unfolded for me, much like it happens for a lot of you all. For one, when I was young, a lot of people thought I was shy. I'm not shy. I'm good in spaces like this. I like to connect with the people. I am an introvert. And again, I feel deeply. So then for a long time, I thought I hated people. But it wasn't that I hated people, it was just that I needed to really understand myself and how I can engage and approach and address the world. And so everyone thought I was shy when I was young because I didn't talk. I wasn't shy. I was withdrawn as hell. I used to see shit. Like, I used to see things when I was little. I used to see things that couldn't be explained to other people, you know? And then I come from a family of intuitives. And so my mother is intuitive, but I'm still scared to tell her these things, so I'm moving through life, and I'm pretty withdrawn. I'm not shy, though, because when you put me in front of the camera, that's where I shine, right? Like, seriously, if you see pictures of me at 2, and, like, you'll see these poses, like, I'm, like, here, and all these things, and it's just, like, no one was directing you, Natasha. That's what my mom would tell you. Like, that's really weird. Like, no one was directing you to do these things. You would just, like, pose and all that kind of stuff, right? So I wasn't shy. So then I'm moving through life, and I'm an Army brat, so we lived all over the world, and so I'm grateful for that experience in itself. And so then when my parents divorced and we moved back to the States, Richmond is still my home. I was born here. I was born at MCV, right? And then we moved because of being in the military, and then we come back. And so childhood, like, my life has been a really fun roller coaster. I've always been a hustler, okay? My mom told me that at 5, and I remember doing this. At 5, I don't encourage anyone to do this with your children or to encourage them to do this. But at 5, my cousin and I used to bottle bugs and sell them for 50 cents. Like, so I was coerced to do that. I will say that, because I'm like, oh my God, we were putting these animals in bondage, like these insects in bondage. Is not my jam. If you know me, you know, like, my heart, that hurts. So yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to put things that are already here. My mom was like, they're already here, Natasha. Why would you want to then you put them in bondage and you sell them? Huh. So, yeah. Right? And I said, okay, and never did that again. But I've always been a hustler. At 14, I started working. I begged my mom to get, what do you get, the sign up permit, the slip so that I can work early. And I come from a middle class family, so we financially, we were stable, very stable. I don't know what it was about me just thinking that I just needed to hustle. I was a hustler in school, I did well, I straight A's, I'm that person, right? I'm the overachiever, I'm the perfectionist. Oh, here we get it, we're getting into my shit now, right? You're like, oh, what is this? Something she got, right? You're getting into my stuff now because I'm like this person I'm the person that is the homecoming princess every year. I'm dating the dude you're on the football team. I'm cheering. I'm competitive cheerleader for 10 years, like ESPN cheering. That was me on there, for 10 years. I was in everything. And then because my father was in the military, then on top of that, I felt like I needed to be in ROTC in high school. So like on certain days, I got to wear my ROTC uniform, and then I got to switch into my cheerleading uniform. And then it's just like wild. And then I got to go to work because I'm working full time too. Wild. Like who does that, right? And so it just continues on to perpetuate. I get into college and I'm a hustler. I went to Tech, go Hokies. Yay, right? But I'm still hustling. I'm still like, we're throwing parties in college, so I'm like getting it. Everyone else is broke. I'm like, I don't know why you broke. You could just like, hey, come work for me. That's what I would say. And then they would. And so then we created this whole thing on campus. I've always been a hustler. Business is my jam. And so naturally I was in school for business. We go on, and I'm continuing in this place of being like just the going and the doing and the pushing, and I'm thriving, and I'm like making all these things happen. Who I don't know if anyone feels like they're living that kind of life right now. Like you're doing all the things, you're pushing, you're going. Are all y'all just chill? What's happening? I need feedback. Y'all chill? Y'all chill or y'all pushing? What y'all doing? What y'all doing? Huh? What are you doing? You hustling. You're hustling. So like once you're a hustler, you're always a hustler, right? But then that means we need this talk even more because we got to figure out how we can bring some balance and some rest into that, right? So then, like we get to the place of I'm pushing, I'm going, and then after school I started working in commercial real estate for a little bit, and then I went into business for myself very quickly after college. I maybe worked outside of college. I worked like 1 year. In the corporate world, in commercial real estate. And after that, then I was like, F this, I'm going to work for myself. And so that's what I've done. For 13 years, I've been in the business for myself. I'm a serial entrepreneur, you can call it. I've had some businesses that I've sold. I've had some that I'm like, I'm done with that one. I've had some that I've just like, yeah, we're gonna lay that one to rest. All those kind of things. All of them have been beautifully helpful in the next thing though, the next one. Right, the next one. So none of them are failures, right? None of them have been failures because they've just helped to move me along the pendulum, along that timeline of my own understanding and learning in business. I've had some really dope mentors, but so that's what I really attribute to a lot of the understanding that I have in business. And I have this passion for helping businesses and people to really businesses and people to move from where they are to where they want to be. Right, because it's really kind of all the same. If we really, for me, we like to separate business and our personal, but if we can approach both of them the same way. We'll get into that later. So, and then Michelle knows she's gonna have to tell me because I can talk forever. Yeah, all the things, okay. So, oh gosh, I have 7 minutes, gosh, okay. So I started to, in college, have these anxiety attacks. Y'all know what those things are? Okay? So I started to have these anxiety attacks, these panic attacks, right? And they started to get more and more frequent. And you're moving through the college thing, so you're moving through that, and then you're also moving through the life thing. So that means all the love, right, and the booze. I was really deep involved in the booze too, right? And so because of that, it got to the place that it became debilitating for me. So a lot of people ask me who says they want to just wake up and they want to play bowls one day, right? Or they want to do these things. This is the reason why. 10 years ago, it's interesting that it was 1 decade ago. So 10 years ago, I got to the place, I was living in DC, I was financial advising at that time, so I was in business for myself, but I was a financial advisor. We had an office of 35 agents. We were doing it. We were doing really well financially. I was in business with my boo at the time. We were growing in business. We were learning each other, and we were also then growing now the business. So I'm thinking I'm living like this, the dream, the thing that we're all trying to attain, right? But then again, I'm still having these debilitating anxiety attacks, and I'm not understanding why, right? I'm working about 70, 80 hours a week, but I'm not understanding why, right? I'm like not eating right at all, but I'm not understanding why. I probably put on about 50 more pounds than I have right now, and I'm still not understanding why I'm having these debilitating anxiety attacks. Like, Tasha, for you to be so smart, you're dumb. Like, why don't you understand that this is the reason why? Like, all the things that are happening in life are the reason why, the life you've created. Because I've always liked to say I'm the architect of my life, right? I've been beautifully blessed, I think, to be the architect of my life. And so when we get to the place, it just one day I wake up and I said, I have to be done with all of this. My book of business I turned over to my partner. He and I split. Right? I'm living in DC, so I moved back here to Richmond. So this was 10 years ago. I was 26. So then I move in to stay in my mom's house. I'm there for 9 months in my mom's house. I'm really I can count on one hand how many times I came out of the house. Right? Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Right? If you're working 70, 80 hours a week, if you are, I don't even want you to raise your hand. Don't do that. But you're going to come here and talk to me afterwards. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, we got some things to talk about. Yeah. So then I'm in the house for these 9 months. I'm thinking, I kind of feel like I've taken away all the things that are making me, I thought, feel wild and crazy, right? And then I take away the things, but I'm still having these debilitating anxiety attacks. So what does that mean? What does that mean? I don't know. But at 9 months, though, my savings is running out, so I need to get back out there in the world, okay, and start to make some money so I can take care of myself. And so I started working and just kind of managing the back end of a financial portfolio for someone. And then one of his clients, his wife, owned a yoga studio. 10 years ago, I never heard of yoga. I don't know why. I'm from Shore Pump. I don't know why, right? I don't understand, right? And so I never heard of the word yoga, but I looked it up and I said, this thing says it can help me with my breath, and maybe I need to just try it. So long story short, I'd go into the yoga class, I'd try yoga, and it was a wrap from there. It literally saved my life. And then from that point, I just became obsessed. Here we go again right now. Just collecting these tools. Just collecting these tools of healing. And so really what we do at Lucid Living, my studio that's right here downtown on the corner of 3rd and Grace, it's just a culmination. It's this physical manifestation of the tools that I have used to heal myself and continue to use every day, right? And at the same time, it's just been this physical, this outward manifestation of these tools. And so those tools, for me, have been my saving grace. See, because it's one thing to be aware, right? It's one thing to have the awareness. That's the first thing that we need, is to have the awareness, hey, you know what? I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling grounded. I'm in the mind. But then it's another thing then to be able to understand, then what do I do about it? So the first thing is the awareness, though. See, I'm not about not doing anything, and I don't feel you need to be a monk and go into and kind of reprieve and not engage in the world. I'm a hustler still, right? I'm a real estate developer. I own the building that my business it works out of. Again, I'm a serial entrepreneur, so my life really hasn't changed much as far as my ambitions, but what has changed is the way that I engage with me, right? And so instead of going and being and pushing and doing, I think all that is fine, but you also first and foremost have to do the work to reconnect to yourself. And who really knows their selves? Because we have all these social norms and these conditions and the patterns that are holding us, sometimes shackled. And so then what do we do to release from those and to disconnect from those? What do we do, right? Every day we need to be finding something that brings us joy. And we don't have to really like go out and seek it. We can even just, it's right there. We just need to look up and we need to take these moments. I can talk to y'all for hours, but I have like 2 more minutes and we're not even in the depths of any of what I would love to share with you all. But I would say this, that whether you are working in a corporate setting, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are working in a corporate setting and you are hustling on the side, whatever you're doing in life, I want you to remember that that's not the only thing in life. Because when at the end of the day, all you have is you. So then what are you doing to reconnect to yourself? What are you doing to find joy within, right? And what's so beautiful about the work is in doing the work is like, and the work is not always fun. I tell everyone this, it's not always unicorns and rainbows and glitter and sunshine. Sometimes it means we have to dive into the pit of hell. But it's all for the healing. And so when we do that work, the more our light shines. And the more that our light shines, then the more that we're able to move down the paths that are created for us. So sometimes we're moving through life, we don't know what to do. It's like, oh, I feel like I kind of know, and I know my passion, the thing I really like, what's my contribution to the world? Each of us have a specifically, uniquely, divinely created path. Our jobs are to figure out what that is, and the way we figure out is always just touching back, checking back in. And then how do we do that? We gotta have some kind of tools, right? We can't just be doing this thing flailing around. That's why for me, mental health is just so important. It's so, so important. Because, that 10 years ago, we call it a sabbatical. Sometimes I like to call it, depending on who I'm talking to, I'm like, oh, I went on a little 9-month sabbatical, or I had like a little nervous breakdown, or I had a little, or sometimes I like to, oh, that was my spiritual awakening. But regardless, I lost my shit, right? And so now we're back in this place, and remember, it's always evolving. So I'm even, I'm in the place now that I'm in like spiritual awakening 2.0 right now, right? So it's been fun times. But, but if I can leave you with anything, it's really that understanding that you have a light that's within, and that's where the divine dwells. And if no matter what you're doing, so like I love all the business and all those things, and we can talk about that stuff too, and all the creatives, like I love all this stuff. But you can't do any of that if you don't do the work on yourself, because you won't be here. Meaning you're gonna die. Like seriously, that's just straight up. You're not gonna be here. So why not like put yourself first, and then know that by filling up your cup, seriously, it's such a cliche, but like filling up that cup, then once it's full, it has nowhere else to go but to pour out into this beautiful, beautiful city that we have, into your home, right, into your neighbors, and to continue to pour out, and that's how we change this world. Like really seriously, when we talk about be the change that you want to see in the world, it does start with us. We can be that. If we just all worked on ourselves, it wouldn't be no shit, because everyone's working on themselves, right? Man, I could talk to y'all forever, right? But they're telling me I gotta go. Hey. Yes, so I'm grateful to be here for you all. If you do have questions, you can let me know. And I'll try to answer them. I don't know all the things, but I'll try to send you to where you can. Yeah.
I'm actually going to kick off the question.
Yes.
You shared with me that 10 years ago you had your spiritual awakening. You lost your shit. Talk to us about, one of the things you said to me is that you were always silent, but then you found your voice. So talk to us about what that looks like for you.
So for me, silence has been a twofold, because like this juxtaposition. For the last 10 years, seriously, I had to go within to reconnect and find myself. Meaning I had to do a lot of work, because I had to peel back the layers of the conditioning, right? And conditioning, usually it comes from the root, and the root is your mom and your dad, so. I love both of my parents. They're the rocks in my life, but a lot of the work that we had, there are a lot of the patterns and conditionings that come from the root, which is the family, the parents. And it's because then they get those, they get their like conditioning from their parents. And at some point it serves somebody, but along the way it stops serving. And I know that this stuff doesn't serve me anymore. These like patterns and conditions, they don't serve me anymore. So I had to, for 10 years, really go within. But now it's come to the place it's shifted, that now instead of going within, now what that going within and being silent and listening and just like listening and listening to myself, what it's allowed me to do is now to move forward in my own authority. So now I'm I'm unapologetically me, right? And so that's where like, then now it's like, I can't afford not to be, I can't afford to be silent. Because the world needs me, just like the world needs you. But the world doesn't need me trying to act like Peter, right? Yeah. We love Peter.
Hi, thank you so
Sunshine.
much. Hi, thanks so much for sharing about being an entrepreneur and how mental health plays into that, because it is such a huge part. I'm right now launching my own business, and I just wanted to ask your advice. How would you advise one to be both transparent about the struggle of being an entrepreneur and to just like shine that confidence out at the same time?
Girl, you gotta just be real. This is that unapologetically me, right? But it takes time to get to that place for us to feel confident enough. My friend told me the other day, he was like, I finally really understand you. You have multiple personalities. I said, I'm just multifaceted, that's all, right? But being aware, for when we have to be real with ourselves, we gotta really dig deep and do that work ourselves to know who we are. And then we can allow that to shine into the world, but be grounded in that. See, I'm not about all the, I think we talk a lot about positive vibes and doing all these things. I want us to be grounded in faith. And whatever your faith is, it doesn't matter to me, but be grounded in it. And then we can then go out and do the work. So then that's how we can then be transparent about who we are. I'm gonna tell you that I've been in business for 13 years. That doesn't change the fact, just like the fact that maybe someone that's a hobby, like a side hustle business that they've been working and they're struggling maybe financially. There's some days that I run out a month before money too, like the business. It's just what it is. I think that if all of us could start being more real instead of having these lives on Instagram and on the socials and the interwebs, right? And we can just get real with the things, then we wouldn't even have these false ideas of what life is, right? So, hi. Hi, Sunshine. What's happening?
Thank you so much for sharing and encouraging spirituality and really connecting with your inner being, because I feel like that is not something that is easily discussed or encouraged, especially within a job, because you empower somebody to be themselves, they're gonna quit and go find what they really want to do. Gonna be like, well,
I love
bye. So I do appreciate your transparency.
Yeah.
And speaking of your inner being, and I hope my question will benefit everyone.
Yeah.
When being silent
Yeah.
and trying to connect with your inner voice and your inner being, there are so many voices out there. I mean, from the day we learn how to listen, we're told, what to do, what to believe, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable in the eyes of society. Some of these things may not really resonate with our inner voice and our inner being, because it's just not us.
Yeah.
So when you're being silent and all these voices are coming in and your voice is somewhere in there, how do you sift through them and really figure out which one is me, or which one is my mom or my dad or my peers, my partner, my boss, who is really speaking to me right now?
That's a good question. Thank you, love. We just have to, that's when we have to ground down in our faith. We have to ground down in who we are, and then we remember, and we're trying to figure out which voice is ours. Then I encourage you to continue again those little moments of joy. What are the things that make you happy, that bring joy to you? Because then you'll see, what, this thing actually makes me happy, but everyone tells me this shouldn't be the thing. But even though they're telling me that's not the thing, this is my thing. So hey, just let that be your thing, right? Yeah. What are you doing here? Oh my God, I'm about to cry. This is when I started teaching yoga a long time ago.
And that's what I want to
I don't
compliment.
even want to talk about it.
I want to compliment you on.
I'm gonna cry.
That's where we met.
Yeah.
I see your growth.
Yeah.
I know some of the struggles you went through. You talked about it.
Yeah.
We talked about it one-on-one. But you have grown and you're sharing because I hear you saying it's not easy. I've been through da-da-da-da-da, and I know you have, because they did not accept who you were and how you were trying to be for everyone.
Yeah.
You've made it.
Thank you.
Continued blessings on your way.
Thank you. Well, that happened. Thank you.
Natasha, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we have to wrap up the official part of our day, but I encourage you to come speak with her if you would like afterwards.
Come hang. Come talk to me.
Thank you so much for coming to Creative Mornings, everybody. Enjoy your Friday. Thank you.